everybody. Welcome back to the Fans in Motion podcast, the only podcast that you didn't know you needed. I say to both of you, what do you do when it's falling apart and you knew it was going from the very start? Do you close your eyes and dream about me? Say hello, Josh.
Yo.
Oh.
Brentry.
I when I dream about you, I can't open my eyes, you know. I'm afraid it's going to, be all over with, and
that's the greatest. When you close your eyes, I think honestly one of the best songs they ever did. So I use that line because we are talking today about Midnight Madness collectible. Josh and I do a deep dive on all the various versions and from around the world. I mean, I don't know if Josh, you remember exactly how many there were, but we talked a long time about this fantastic album, Midnight Madness by Night Ranger.
Well, you definitely see that it takes off because I know we're showing copies from Venezuela and there's all the the Pacific ones, and it's released a couple times in Europe. There's a couple different Japanese versions, and then even after we were talking, I had just gotten in a copy from Argentina, and we show it, when we go through the records. But it wasn't until after we were done, speaking that I noticed. Now there's some that have like the song tracks in Spanish on back, but
right.
I noticed this is the only copy that across the top of the cover it is in Spanish. So instead of saying Midnight Madness, it says, La Cora de Medianoche.
That translates into Dave Nadelman.
Yeah, Nave and Tom Chapin. So yeah, it's different than some of the other ones that do have Spanish on the back, because the front cover all say Midnight Madness. I just happened to notice that this one, the front cover actually is in Spanish, and then you can see the. Tell me if you guys can see that, but you can see.
Yeah, it's great.
Everything's in Spanish. Hermana Christian, his sister Christian, and
you know what's interesting about that? At least just from my perspective, I was looking at it and I was like, well, why do they not translate? I guess you can't because it's a logo, the band name, Night Ranger. But you're gonna
be
translate
Noche something, I don't know.
Or it'd be Ranger.
Donde está Rangerones?
Well, maybe it'd be Ranger.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Ranger de Night, Ranger de Noche.
Yeah, they felt compelled to change the album title and the song titles, but not the name Night Ranger.
Well, it's probably a lot easier just to change that font, that across the top, than it is to make a Spanish,
Well, and I said it may be a logo.
You know what?
Thing.
There you go, Brent. El Rango de Noche logo.
El no.
So
somebody on the page, I'm sure, speaks much better Spanish than us. We'll break that down.
I just always reverse the words and put like a la or L in between them, and
that's.
I knew
when I.
I'm talking here.
Brent, you didn't do the old Donde está la casa de Pepe?
No, Donde está la casa de Pepe? Yeah, from Steve Martin. That's where I learned all my Spanish. I knew when I took Spanish class and my name didn't translate to Spanish, I was doomed.
Yeah.
Really, the only thing you need to know is, like I've always said, you only need to know 2 phrases in every language. One phrase is just being able to hear in every native language, hey, let's kick that guy's ass. That way you know it's coming.
Your ears can perk up.
Yeah, like, wait a second, we're about to get some ass kickings. And then the other one is La Fiesta Los Pantalones. There's a party in my pants. You need to be able to say that in every language. You do that, you're pretty much, you got everything covered in every country.
Does that work even in English, Josh?
Well,
I know it does work in English. Yo soy el hombre. I'm the man.
So
I should be in detention.
it all depends on the character of person you're talking to. Yeah.
How much Jägermeister's in them?
Yeah, there's a lot of and if they got a boyfriend, and if they do, that's where the hey, let's kick that guy comes in. So, yeah, if you just
Josh's other rule is the word beer. Okay, I got cerveza. It's beer in England, or it's lager, actually. It's beer in Canada.
You know what? Most of the time overseas they're drinking a U.S. or European beer, so you can either point, or or you can just
like drink whatever they give you.
And like when I was in Turkey, they drink a lot of Tuborg and Carlson, I think, which is all Danish beer, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. And when I was in Africa, they drank the shit out of Guinness. Like they won't, yeah. Like if they're going to go for a run, they drink a Guinness first. They call it their blood.
Oh.
But yeah. Wow. But yeah, you don't need to know that. All you need to know is, hey, let's kick that guy's ass, and there's a party in my pants, and trust me, you'll be fine in every country.
And there's language advice from Josh.
There you go.
Well, with that being said, let's jump into thoughts from our previous episode. This somehow has to tie into David Lauser, right? How did
I think he would drink a pint of Guinness before he would take a run.
Josh, if I remember correctly, if David had his ears perked up, there would have been maybe one less ass kicking in his life.
Yeah.
Getting his ribs broken, and
I mean, he may have started with "There's a party in my pants."
Hey, maybe
we need to get him back on and ask him how that started.
But yeah, that previous episode, like we'd mentioned, it's David Lauser, drummer with Sammy Hagar forever. They were friends before Sammy Hagar was Sammy Hagar. We recorded that in September. We have Greg Eckler on that episode as well, and it's the last recording we have of Greg. So it's it's great to have, and we finally released it. We've got another more current interview with David where we get more into him forming alliance with Alan Fitzgerald and some more Night Ranger stuff as well. And we'll, that'll be out in the next month or so. But yeah, the episode does well, just like everything we've done with David. Yeah. And it's just great stories because it's the first time we ever learned that that they auditioned drummers with Damn Yankees. It was always my common belief that Michael Cardelloni was, because Damn Yankees, and we'll get more into this in the Damn Yankees episode way down the road. Damn Yankees actually started Tommy Shaw, Ted Nugent, and then they had Michael Cardelloni and his bass player, whose name I don't remember, from Tommy Shaw's band as well. So it's basically Tommy Shaw's solo band with a Ted Nugent coming in, and that was when it was called Damn Yankees, and they had written a couple songs like Come Again, and it didn't quite work. And then 6 months later, they tried to get it back together, and that's when they bring in Jack Blades. So it was always like the story out there was Jack comes in, just replaces that bass player, Cardelloni stays. But it looks like maybe they were trying to get another name in there because you have, because Michael Cardelloni was unknown at the time, but you got Jack Blades, Tommy Shaw, Ted Nugent, maybe trying to get another name in there in that drum spot, and it didn't.
I mean, I was available, but they did not reach out to me at all. So,
well, you were less known than Michael Cardelloni at the time.
So I still am.
So yeah, it was just interesting. That was a good information that I've never heard, that they actually, at least it'd be interesting to see maybe who else auditioned, and I would just assume by that time they were probably just, why are we doing this? We're already comfortable with Michael. Tommy has a history with him, and guess what? You can probably pay him less, which means more money for you. So I
figured that's what it was all about the whole time anyway.
Well, I figured that's what it was at the very beginning, but we've already seen that, or we learned from David that, not that David would maybe command as much money as they would, but you would think as an established drummer he would earn more than Michael Cardelloni. So they may have just decided, you know what, we are, okay as this super group coming together with 3 known names, we can have this one lesser name instead of bringing in. So that's what's good about that interview was we learned that and other things. So can't go wrong with old David Lauser joining the Fans in Motion podcast.
Definitely some hot. I hopefully, I know we say this every time we do one of these interviews, that I wish and I hope that people go back and listen to these, because even though you don't know these names, some of their stories are so fantastic. And just take a chance. I mean, pull one up and listen to it. You're gonna laugh a lot, and you're gonna find out some interesting stuff about the music industry itself and our favorite band. So that being said, do we have any new Night Ranger news? Anybody? Anyone? Bueller? Anything?
Brent, is this where you're coming in at?
No, that's news.
Next.
All right. Well,
news for Night Ranger.
I would say I think there was, we got Joel Hoekstra's album coming out next week, and I think news-wise, obviously we're going to get more into it a little bit later, but they just released the Midnight Madness colored vinyl, which we're going to get into obviously more in this episode. Otherwise, news-wise, I don't think there's any new shows or anything like that announced. So, yeah, we're just trucking along. I can tell you that I would say probably the new Night Ranger album is probably about 80% done. That's that's me 35,000 feet above, and what little things we find out. So when I say that, that's just probably the recording. I don't know anything about the
mixing.
Well,
the mastering,
packaging, and stuff like that. So, that could be being done at the same time, or or we've talked about Night Ranger covers. That might take 2.5 minutes to do all that. What cover are we going to have? Hey, take that shower curtain and slap a Night Ranger logo on it.
Use Brent's background.
God, you're so mean. You're so mean.
That's the Neverland cover behind you, Brent.
Oh, right there. Yeah, kind of is, isn't it?
Where'd you get that at? That's so cool. You should put a logo on that. Just don't tell your wife.
That's I mean, honestly, that wet concrete you have above your, you put like a rustic, beat up Night Ranger logo. Yeah, down a little bit. Yeah, on that concrete. That would be a cool logo.
Oh, okay. I'm looking. I'm trying to what's he trying to?
No, right there. About? Just like a rustic looking Night Ranger logo.
Just
that would be a Whitesnake cover then.
Fuck them.
It would be.
So, well then
they use the same freaking thing for every album cover.
Well,
in the world.
Here's a little thing a lot of people don't know. I was talking to Coverdale. I don't know, probably a couple months ago, and we were actually watching one of our Fans in Motion podcasts where you're actually sitting where you're at now, and he was like, "Dude, those curtains, I could put a Whitesnake logo up there." I was like, "Dude, that would just be you ripping off Night Ranger." And he's like, "Oh, yeah." It's like you already did it once, taking Joel.
Was he like, "Yeah, Joshua, I like that background behind Brent right there. I like to use it on the latest Whitesnake album."
Yeah,
he said, "Thumbs up, friends."
If I ever talked to David Coverdale, I'd be like, "All right, I want to know who was in the studio when they originally wrote what was it? Here I Go Again," and it's like, "Here I go again on my own, like a hobo. I was born to walk alone." I just want to know who's in the studio going, "That's a fucking keeper."
That right there.
Yeah, that is exactly the lyric we want.
And the funny thing is, the British word for hobo is really tramp. Andy learned that on In-Betweeners, actually. The tramp shoes.
But yeah, there's like who doesn't stop and say, hey, there's certain words that should not be in a rock song. I would say hobo is.
Trousers.
I mean, listen, if you're Boxcar Willie. Yeah, every song should mention hobo. I was
going to say the same thing.
But you're Whitesnake. Let's not say the word hobo.
Other than that small little niche of Boxcar singers.
Yeah, it's like
you don't need not a lot of hobo demand.
But yeah, that's off the top of my head, that's probably one word that I'm pretty sure shouldn't be in rock songs. But
I'm sure they're going to cancel that word, hobo, and what did you call them? Andy said something else.
Well,
anyway,
no, I was saying that
they're going to be called world travelers now.
With Josh's other words he doesn't want to hear in songs is trousers.
Yeah, or slacks. And you know what? It's slacks.
Polyester blend.
Slacks is even made fun of because remember the Will Ferrell, Garth Brooks? One of the where Garth Brooks sells his soul to get a hit song, and the devil comes out and he's writing all these songs, and one of the songs is what Charlie wears slacks, and so yeah, slacks does not belong in the song. Trousers. I'm pretty good with not hearing the word window in any more Night Ranger songs. Like they sing about a lot of windows, chipping away, lay it down, singing out a window. Yeah, let's put a no window guarantee on this new Night Ranger album.
That must be why I keep getting these stupid emails. My computer hears you talking about crap like this because I can't get rid of Champion Windows popping up on everything I do.
Yeah.
I blocked them 30 times in my email since Thanksgiving.
Listen,
and by the way,
Brent's computer. Listen to me.
Your slacks,
shirtless hairy men. So hopefully you're getting
Josh, you missed out on this era of
shirtless
tough
hairy
skins
men?
From Sears and tracks from Kmart. Every kid in elementary school in our era they all had tough skin jeans from Sears. That seems like that's where all the parents bought them. Because they probably got them for $5.99 a pair. And you got your Trax gym shoes, and you were told these have to last you all school year.
All year.
Yeah, you didn't have 28 pairs of. I remember when my dad, when I got a pair of Nikes for $29.99, he about hit the roof, man.
Yeah.
Where did the shoes
come? Talking about the trousers, and it reminded me of Tough Skins.
I thought maybe you were a hobo, and you're just happy you got shoes or something.
Tough Skins.
Aria
Speedwagon originally wrote a song called "She Doesn't Like the Tough Skins." Boom, boom.
Wow.
Yeah, so there you are at the 18-minute mark. You are clicking off and saying, I would rather do anything else. What's on PBS?
Who else writes an Aria Speedwagon parody on the spot but me? Come on.
There you go. I don't use the word hero often, Brent, but today I'm still not going to do it.
I'm going to keep on bugging you.
What's next Andrew?
Okay.
Let's keep this train
Let's move
moving.
on to some new stuff, Brent. What have you got going on with new stuff?
What have we all got going on with new stuff? Ready? Cha-ching.
Yeah, we got the colored vinyl.
Our good friends at LMR and Culture Factory hooked Josh, Andy, and I up with the colored vinyl. Now, it was great because these came in the mail to my house the week before Christmas. So I remember Andy was in town for Christmas, and I went down and met him at the hotel and gave him his, and then mailed Josh's up to him. But we've had these a month before they came out easily, and we had to keep the keep the lid on it. But Culture Factory, I've been speaking to the gentleman that runs it here in the States, and he has told me that all 1,000 copies have been pressed, so there are no more being pressed, and they're coming out of France. So if you have a hard time locating it, I don't know, within the next 2-3 weeks, there's going to be another shipment coming from France, and then that's it. So you don't need to get on eBay and pay the $54 prices when they start jacking them up because they can't get them from the distributor. They're going to have another shipment coming from France. So just don't panic, but buy this record. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It sounds great. The packaging is fantastic. It doesn't look like it's a reprint whatsoever. It looks like something brand new that you bought in the 80s.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's got some weight to it. It's heavy. It's nice and solid to hold.
And if you don't have it, instead of waiting for it to come back in stock online. Go to your local record shop and see if they are carrying it, and you can just pick it up there. I would say, there's a good chance that your local record shop may have it, or maybe not, because there is a growing mass of Night Ranger fans due to this Fans in Motion podcast that we are directly influencing. So you may be SOL. So that lesson would be the next time they announce a Night Ranger colored vinyl, just jump on it and get it and
pre-order.
Yeah, just make it happen.
Oh.
Yeah, so like I said, this is if they do more releases, they'll just keep doing them as long as we keep purchasing them, and it's good quality too. It isn't like it's something that's they're releasing it and it's poor quality. So very good quality. So track them down.
When you limit it, like I said, when they limit it to 1,000, they press them all at once. So therefore, it's officially out of print already.
Yeah.
So I picked up this magazine,
Rock Express,
distributed exclusively by Musicland. It was.
Well, that's when you would join their club.
Well, this was June. June or July of '87. It was $1.95. So
yeah, you could buy them in the store, or if you join their points club, because I used to work for that company. You bought this little card, you get discounts. They would mail you that in the mail.
So the best thing about getting magazines from the 80s is it's almost like a first-hand source of information. Even though, Brad Gillis talking about something in 2020 is still a first-hand source. You're talking to the person that experienced it, but you're also talking to someone who is 33 years and maybe, some slight medication away from that time period. Okay, so you experience the 80s. Everybody's a fog in the 80s, right? So that's what I hear. Even myself, being turning 10 in '87, I think you received different narcotics in the mail just as a rite of passage. But what I guess what I'm saying is this is fresh in their memories. It's stuff that's happening. It's so it's good to get these magazines and just see what their mindset was at that time. Interesting thing about this is I think we talked on a previous episode, maybe the Big Life episode, where the album is dedicated to Jack's dad, Ned, and we talked about the Mary Turner interview. That was a record set that the radio stations would air. And Kelly and Jack told the story of Jack leaving to go to the back home for the funeral, and Kelly saying, I would stay, he would stay and finish the track called Carry On. So I read this, and they actually talk a little bit about Jack's dad, and here it says the whole band flew to Arizona for Jack's father's funeral. Jack delivered the eulogy, Jeff played Goodbye on guitar, and Kelly Kagi sang it. So maybe either I heard it wrong, maybe they're talking and just the way it comes out, but it could be something Jack flew out early, a few days to, settle family affairs and help with everything. And Kelly stayed behind for a couple days, finished the track, and then they all flew out for the funeral. So just, more little pieces to a puzzle, and I just wanted to, since we had talked about that story with Carry On, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I've ever heard where the title Big Life came from. Is anybody curious?
I am.
I don't think I've ever heard it. Brent, have you ever heard where the title Big Life came from?
I know it's going to click as soon as you're going to say it. I remember reading about it.
I think you're lying to me.
But I don't.
I think you're lying.
I thought the Big Life was everything that you could dream of or something like that.
Well, it's
Am I close?
Well, yes. It's look up the lyrics. It's what you make it, and it's what you take it. Big Life.
Big Life.
Anyway, so It is from a bag that Jeff Watson bought in Japan. I'm trying to see where they actually start with that story.
Wow.
But
That's
Jeff
riveting.
is also the owner of the inspirational bag and says it was his idea to call the album Big Life. He bought a duffel bag in Japan that had Big Life as a part of the saying on it. We all thought, hey, all right, Big Life, dude. I suggest we call the album Big Life, and Jack wrote a song that went in a different direction, but we've made Big Life this heavy catchphrase now. Everybody in America wears shirts that has Japanese writing on them. Who knows what it means? It probably says "kick me, I'm a fool," so it's the same thing in Japan. They like American scripts, so somebody just wrote some bull. Everybody in Japan is going, all right, we could read it, and anyways, yeah. So it came from a duffel bag that Jeff Watson bought. And another little interesting tidbit.
Well, that makes the album cover a little bit more sensible with the luggage and what have you on the cover.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean.
I think you're stretching
wow.
it there, but.
Well, it does.
Here's another thing. Can you guys guess? I think we maybe briefly talked about it because I think maybe I've heard some other stuff in a different interview, but this they talk about it directly. After they released Secret of My Success, do you guys know what song they were thinking about releasing as a single afterward? Did not Color Your Smile. They mentioned here that would be probably the third single.
Well, I would hope. Go ahead.
No. You started.
I would want it to be Rain Comes Crashing Down, but.
Brent?
Better Let It Go.
Love Is Standing Near. So they're talking here. They talk about how the they're getting criticized for being a ballad band. When they're getting accused of releasing a ballad from Big Life as the follow-up to Secret of My Success. Jack Blade says, I do not think Love Is Standing Near is a ballad. And Jeff says it's an up-tempo rock with a ballad hook, where they're basically defending it. And if we want to have a strong tour and get more people through the medium of radio or MTV, we're going to release Love Is Standing Near, which is an up-tempo ballad, then come back with Color of Your Smile. Then in the fall, when school comes back in, maybe do Hearts Away, which we know that they ended up not doing, that they ended up, I'm pretty sure, doing Hearts Away following Secret of My Success, then Color Your Smile.
Color Your Smile was the second video. Hearts Away was the third.
I thought we proved you wrong once on that.
No, I'm telling you. I was on spring. I had just graduated high school when Hearts Away came out, and I saw it in Myrtle Beach. The only time I ever saw it on MTV. I'd already seen Color Your Smile before that.
Well, you may have saw the video, but I'm trying.
They might have recorded it before the other one, but I doubt that because they probably recorded Secret of My Success and Color Your Smile on the same day or two on that same set.
Well, while I'm looking for that answer, you guys go to the Fans in Motion.
There we go. Brent, what do you got in Fans in Motion?
Is it sponsored by anybody this week, Andy?
You tell me.
I don't know.
Didn't you have one? The Steakhouse?
Yeah, who?
The Steakhouse.
Oh, you mean? Oh, are you referring to Longhorn Steaks?
Yeah.
Yeah, Longhorn Steaks. Greatest chicken critters in the world with ranch dressing, but they had a jingle, and Andy and I were talking the other night, and Andy don't remember it, but he used to try to remember.
I don't.
He used to try to sing this jingle with me back in the early '90s, and it went something like this: Longhorn Steaks, come out and get one, no matter what it takes. They got big bowls of peanuts, Texas taters, and ice cold brew, and some animal heads on the wall staring back at you. You can bring people here, and they'll probably say, "Thanks for
All
bringing me
right,
here."
stop.
I'm almost done. And this kind of place is just to eat up with atmosphere. So if you got good times, and he screwed me up, and a place that's neat, coming to Longhorn Steaks, you need some meat. Thank you. Anyway, Josh took his headphones off. Our first Fans of Motion news person, Andy, if I'm correct, that is Andy Wright behind me. Am I correct on that?
Andy Wright. You are right.
Andy Wright made a little collage. He took his greatest hits that was re-recorded and had it signed by everybody. I believe that's what that is. Andy, and I know Andy commented on you, Andy Parker.
Yes. I just think it's cool looking, man. I this is one of the things I love about the page that we're all part of, is seeing these. I mean, I don't have something that cool in my house, and I wish I did. So I love it.
That top part, what they're showing is, Andy had made like a little collage. He took the Midnight Madness dust jacket, and then that top thing is the it's actually
booklet,
it's a CD booklet for hits and rarities, the black and black cover with the silver logo. So you unfold it, and it's got just a poster that unfolds, and it has their signatures on the poster and everything. So that's where
the signature's already on it. I've never even opened it.
I think it is. Hold on, keep going.
Yeah. Okay. While he looks for that, we're gonna go.
But he's also got there, Brent. Hold on.
Oh,
he's got his. If I remember correctly, I'm trying to see it now on my little phone. He's got his very first Night Ranger ticket stub and his last that he's seen him with.
Okay.
So, I think that's awesome. I don't know where my first ticket stub is, but it doesn't say Night Ranger. I think, Brent, doesn't it just say Kiss?
Just says Kiss, yes.
Yeah.
And then when they played somewhere else, I don't know who the promoter was. Ours was Belkin. That's why, and Belkin presents Kiss. Which that was cool. That turned up on the page again this week. Somebody put it, but anyway, okay, Josh is opening this up right now. I don't remember. Okay, it is. I didn't remember it being autographed.
Well, I don't.
I remember the pictures inside.
I mean, it's not autographed. It's
it's
printed.
Yeah, it's a printed autograph. I think when it was released, it seems like the hype sticker made it sound like it was autographed, but it's not. I could be wrong on that, but it's just.
I still have my hype sticker. It's upstairs, but I'm not going to run and get it.
So
you probably have yours, don't you?
I do not. I don't give a shit about probably CD hype stickers.
Okay, and then the next friend is Barb Hairgrove Harrington. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and just like Josh was saying earlier, the reason I love this is because this page, I think, has brought people back into physical copies, obtaining it, not just having it on your iPhone. And she got all this in the mail, I think, in one day. And that's what I thought was cool, because I've noticed the trend of people posting things that they're getting in the mail that they probably wouldn't have bought if they wouldn't have been part of this community. And I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong about that, but it just seems like more people are more like, oh, you know what, I used to have that. I should get that again.
Yeah. Well, at least they're sharing it. Even if we, weren't instrumental in getting them to do it, we're at least all sharing in this world of, hey, man, I got a Night Ranger CD in the mail, or I just picked up this album, or I got this. And that's the fun part of it, is because before, Brent, it was just me and you talking about stuff we got in the mail, and then Josh entered the picture.
Oh,
so
I told you about him. I'm like, you ain't gonna believe all the shit this guy's got.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
what else you got?
And our final one should be Mr. Where'd it go? I think it's here. Is that James Gillen?
James C. Gillen.
Went to the concert in Florida last week, and him and some other people were keeping us up to date what was going on with the show, and Brad wasn't there.
Well, yeah, there's only some Night Ranger news that we fucking missed.
Yeah, well,
why are we
I
even
thought
doing
about
this,
that.
man? I mean, we missed like the biggest Night Ranger news. We got Brent singing shitty jingles from 1982. You know what? I don't even want to listen to this podcast. You at home, you listening right now, why in the hell are you listening to us? So yes,
I didn't think you wanted to bring up Brad. That's why I didn't say anything.
Well, there's no hiding it. We can't.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing a huge biker rally in Florida. There was no hiding it. And here you go. We'll give you this. You want this is only for the podcast. Don't repost it on the page. This isn't the first show that Brad Gillis has missed, and he's fine. It's just he's in quarantine with some family members, and he's just not risking it for these shows. But there was a show at the end of November that Night Ranger played that no one knew about. It was a public show, and if you knew where to look, you could find it, and you could find some photos. And Brad was not at that show either. But there's nothing wrong with him or anything. But
right.
But yeah,
he's looking out for somebody else.
We just left it be. That in that time, just we weren't going to talk about it. We just left it be. This here we can't really leave be because we had people on the page going and posting, and so there was no hiding it. But there you go.
I was chatting with Dave Nadelman, and he went there and turned around and left. He said because there was thousands of people there, and he said he didn't see anybody with masks on, and he just didn't want to risk it. Florida's different than Ohio, and
it's different. It's different with the band. You can isolate yourself as a band, and I don't know. It's you get into personal decisions and stuff.
Yep.
Doing that stuff. It's just sometimes your personal decision impacts other people, and that's where we're at in today's world. I want to mention a couple things on the page too. Did you guys see Amanda Orlowski? She posted a framed picture.
Tan bed?
Huh?
Tanning bed?
Yeah, she posted a framed picture of Midnight Madness. She owns a tanning salon, and that's in her tanning salon. And then Mike Smith posted some pictures of his tickets for the Wabash, Indiana show.
Yeah.
And listen, if you see the $100 price tag on his tickets, we don't care if you don't like it. I was really wondering what you thought when you posted, hey, that's expensive. I was wondering if you thought it was. If you're, if it's too expensive or you don't like the prices, that's fine, but we don't need to know about it. Let the people that post the tickets and are enjoying it, enjoy it, and then just keep your, whatever your thoughts are to yourself, because no one really cares.
And there are different price levels to the show anyway.
Yeah. To me, $100 for the back row of a Night Ranger show is fucking worth it, man, because it's fucking Night Ranger. And then also we got pictures of when the Midnight Madness records started coming in, people were posting photos. Obviously, we posted a couple of things early, but Mike Smith again posted, pictures of his records, and the Dahlman posted his. John Haynes, Chapin, and Carrie Ann Suffin posted hers. So
John Haynes he was the one who posted he was backstage at the 35 Years in a Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
and I was like, oh,
had a picture of the drum riser.
He's standing in front of Kelly's drum riser.
Yeah. See, and you guys were talking about all these people, and I'm looking at all this trying to figure out what three to choose. And
Sure.
John had another post where his friends in Canada sent him an 8-track and of Seven Wishes. And
we can't show pictures of everything. I mean,
right.
But I can make a list, and whatever he doesn't hit, I at least can verbally mention. And and there's stuff even I miss. So if I miss,
but it's all appreciated. I mean, we love seeing all this kind of stuff. It's great.
All right, you got any more fucking songs you want to sing, Brent? Good. And Andy, you got anything we want to chit chat before we go into this?
Just did anybody have anything new music wise that they want to share with the world at large? To say, hey, this is what I'm listening to now, or anything. books they want to review real quick, or movies they've seen?
Oh, Andy must have a book.
What book you got?
No.
I wasn't listening to I finally got a chance to listen to the new Chris Stapleton. You can't go wrong with Chris Stapleton. This may not be as strong as his other releases, but
I will put it out there. I just watched a really good documentary called shit.
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
That's a really bad
everything
name for a
you need to know. Everything you ever needed to know about fecal matter coming this fall.
No, I think it's called Tennessee Whiskey, and it's a documentary about a songwriter named Dean Dillon. Josh, you may be familiar.
I'll fucking
with
tell
Dean
you all
Dillon
kind about Dean Dillon. Well, first of all, one of the greatest country music singers ever is Gary Stewart. Did you talk about Gary Stewart?
Oh yeah. If you haven't seen this doc, Josh, you need to see it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But Tennessee Whiskey is what he brought me to Chris Stapleton.
Wrote the Longhorn Steakhouse jingle that I sang when I sang with my twang.
Yes, Dean Dillon wrote.
They say that in that doc, Josh, that Gary Stewart was. He gets tons of praise in this documentary. So I'm a big documentary fan. I love watching them, and I just watched this one. So it's called Tennessee Whiskey, I believe.
I drank a lot of beer at a lot of bars listening to Gary Stewart. But Gary Stewart was he wasn't quite country, wasn't quite rock in the 70s, and really didn't have a place to fit in.
Yep.
But they released albums. They kind of did well. They didn't know what to do with him. So they partnered him up with Dean Dillon when he was more of a performer and not a songwriter, and they did a couple albums together. And then Dean Dillon became basically one of the best songwriters of country music the last few decades. A lot of your George Strait hits, are Dean Dillon. A lot of them, and there's others out there. But yes, Tennessee Whiskey. Originally recorded by, you had a version by David Allan Coe, and you had a version by George Jones, and then Chris Stapleton comes along down the road and redoes it. So anyways, you mention any of these names, you're just gonna, it's kind of like shitty jingles to Brent. I'll just go off on a tangent. So hey,
it's
one
kind of like what?
Well,
I didn't catch it.
Shitty jingles to Brent. I enjoy these old country singers and performers.
Well, look up that documentary if you get the chance. It's on.
What did you see it on?
Netflix
Amazon
or Netflix? I think I got Amazon. One of those, but it's out there. Just look it up. Tennessee Whiskey.
I watched.
It's good.
I think we talked.
I'll tell you what's a good one is a Tower of Records one.
I haven't seen that yet, but I'm going to.
I did watch
the Cream documentary. I got to see the Cream documentary about the magazine Cream.
Did watch the one on Clive Davis that's on Netflix.
Yeah, that's very good.
It's pretty good. The one thing we didn't cover on the Midnight Madness collectors, because me and Andy recorded the vinyl part, and I did not really bring up the CDs or anything, so we'll just briefly talk about it. There is a Night Ranger 8-track out there for Midnight Madness. John Haynes just posted a photo of it. One just sold on eBay a couple of weeks ago for, I don't know, $40 or so.
I thought he posted 7 Wishes.
No, it was Midnight Madness.
I'm going to look right now.
So,
keep going.
So yeah, it is available on 8-track. It's probably only CRC, Columbia Records Club. And then the CDs, you did have different versions of them released in the 80s. The first one has the back cover. I don't have one sitting here. Has the back cover of the CD, has all this on it. And then it went to like a specially priced budget CD, and it just got like a generic cover. It's been released in Japan multiple times, remastered in 2007. It's on the box set. So you have different Japanese versions. So I didn't touch into the the stuff. And there is a Midnight Madness tour book. So I feel like we didn't really do our job. I think we stuck more to the vinyl. But there is a Midnight Madness tour book that was available on that tour, and you start seeing
the poster book.
Yeah, the tour book is basically just opens up, and it's a poster of Night Ranger. What's weird is the poster does. I'm looking at it right now. I got it hanging on the wall here. It doesn't have the Night Ranger logo. It just says Night Ranger across the top in print, and they're kind of behind. It looks like there's a galaxy, a side view of the galaxy behind them, and it's got like a starry sky or something. So there's that, and there was a poster that was released commercially of them that you could go to the store and buy. That's out there. I think Brad may be kind of kneeling and crouching down in it.
Or you can steal it from the tanning salon.
Yeah, there is that. Just watch out for Amanda.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is the beginning of their being, they're on their rise. There's that little sticker I showed that was in gumball machines a couple weeks ago. There's actually a bumper sticker. God damn it, I got it sitting right up there, too, hanging up. There's a bumper sticker that I think they sold in gas stations, and they sold them 2 to a pack. This one has Night Ranger Midnight Madness, and then on the other side it has, I think, U2. So there's different stuff like that. They're coming into. They're increasing, and there's stuff to buy. But this mainly focuses on the vinyl. So, yeah, and the vinyl, as you're going to see, is just it's fun, and you're going to see how it changes throughout each country, and the quality and the stories behind it, and why things are the way they are. And you can pick up your record that you have at home, and you can see, holy shit, this wasn't printed in 1983. This was printed in 1986. So
and where it came from? Did it come from? Was it Pinckney or
Panigneyville, or Panigneyville or Gloversville? So the MCA has 2 plants, so you're gonna be able to see all that stuff. So, anyways, we've talked for 50 fucking minutes because we don't know what the hell we're doing. So Andy, take us into the episode.
All right, everybody, sit back and enjoy a deep breakdown of more Midnight Madness talk.
Deep.
Well, you can still rock in America.
All right, so Josh, we are here. We're going to do I guess we're going to honor Midnight Madness with the upcoming release by Culture Factory. They are releasing this. By now, I guess they would have already released it.
Mm-hmm.
This brand new spanking. I got my blurry thing on.
Oh, here, I got it in the background here.
Josh has his. So we're going to do a little bit of a.
I'll post a picture of it.
A conversation about the collectability of this phenomenal album called Midnight Madness. Culture Factory did this great release. I'm going to just read from the cover here. This has the original, this inner sleeve. It is they call it opaque blue vinyl. I think it's listed other ways. This was limited to 1,000 copies. This thing is just beautiful. And Josh and I are going to have a conversation about this album, and Josh will give you some details about the collectability of this album and what's out there. So hopefully people watching this, you have your copy, you've opened it. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you're just sitting it on a shelf like I do. But again, Culture Factory did a great job with this album, as they did with Dawn Patrol too. So let's thank them and honor them with a nice conversation about this album they put out.
Yeah, it's just nice that they are releasing something new on vinyl for Night Ranger. So back in October, I think it was, you had the purple Dawn Patrol. And now, January 29th, the blue Midnight Madness is being released. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about Midnight Madness, and I will show you and talk to you about all the variations of Midnight Madness on vinyl that's out there. You probably, if you're listening to this, you may have your original Midnight Madness record, or maybe you went and purchased one in the last few years. And you might just think, hey, picking up a copy of Midnight Madness is just picking up a copy of Midnight Madness. But if you're really into collecting, you can figure. The MCA had 2 pressing plants. You can see the differences between one pressing plant and the other, and a lot of times you can tell what year that record was actually pressed. I guess probably the best way I can describe it is every year you have, let's say like a Honda Accord, you got a 2010, 2011, 2012, but they're all Honda Accords. So with this, you have Midnight Madness, but they're printing them every year in different locations. And if you know what to look for, like you see 2 Honda Accords that look almost the same, but the tail lights are just a little bit different. Well, you can see that one's a 2011 as compared to a 2012. Well, with Midnight Madness, you can kind of look at it and determine what actual print it actually is. But this is a good episode because this is the easiest. If you listen to Dawn Patrol, they were originally released on Boardwalk, and then there was a few pressings, and then went to MCA. Seven Wishes starts out on the old MCA label on the record, and then eventually they change that. So you pick up a Seven Wishes, you can tell whether it was one of the first ones off the press, or if it was one that was pressed in late '85 or '86 on. So this again, some people will listen to this and like, I don't care. Well, yeah, but it's fun just to pick up your record and know, hey, this record, like your Dawn Patrol, I can pick up a copy of Boardwalk and I can tell you those weren't the first ones on the shelves. These ones were. And this is the one that the very first fans actually picked up and bought. And the good thing about vinyl as well is these records were intended to be released on vinyl. Vinyl was the
what was the go-to back then?
Yeah, and so everything was designed for vinyl. Dawn Patrol, Seven Wishes, and Midnight Madness. So,
so do you have the numbers? I mean, like, how many countries was this thing released in? How many units did it sell? Do you have those kind of numbers, or are we gonna not do that stuff?
It went maybe 3 million platinum. So. But as for the countries, I'll go through them here and list them. But so, how did you buy the album, or did you buy it on? I would assume vinyl.
I know I was a cassette guy. I'm a music fan, but I'm a horrible fan, just like I'm a horrible patient for a doctor. I love music. Music is part of every moment of my life. I sleep with headphones on with music playing, but I didn't buy a lot of albums. I've moved, as everybody knows, recently, and I carried my little crate of albums with me, and I looked in, and I'm like, there's maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 albums in there total. And it's nothing. I mean, I just picked this up, Josh. I remember we talked about this, I don't know when I got it, this version of Midnight Madness. I was so excited to you. I just got this 2021. I just got this on vinyl.
Well, there you go.
This isn't the collector version. This is just a regular black vinyl version. I don't know, Josh. What am I looking for to tell you which one it is?
Well, we'll get there. So you keep it beside you, and
I got it there,
and we can match it up.
I was a cassette guy, and I'll tell you this much, and Brent, who's not with us right now, Brent always has better memories than me. I will say this, though, the very first CD I ever purchased when I went to CD, when the world was changing, was Damn Yankees. So at least I had Jack Blades was at least part of my so yeah, I mean, I had cassettes, and now Brent, I think, had the vinyl. I think he would be able to tell you in depth about it. But yeah, I mean, I was a cassette guy. Boom boxes were the big rage back then, and you had that thing on your shoulder, and I was, getting close to being able to drive, and I put a cassette deck in my car, and I had my big suitcase full of cassettes on my Night Ranger. So yeah, I never had the vinyl till 2020.
Well, better late than never.
I'm only a few decades late.
I got this in Christmas of '84. If you guys watch the episode 0 where we kind of introduce ourselves, I had basically been taking my aunt's records and listening to them. And for Christmas of '84, I had 3 aunts. They each bought me 2 records. One of them bought me Midnight Madness and Dawn Patrol. One bought Van Halen. 1984, Hugh Lewis and the News Sports, Survivor, Vital Signs, and Cars, Heartbreak City.
Damn.
So I had all those at 7 years old. And I still got those 2 records, the Midnight Madness. Well, I got all of them still, but the Midnight Madness and that Dawn Patrol are not with my regular collection. They are in a separate part and, just more sentimental reasons. But yeah, my first copies were the vinyl, and I think vinyl making a comeback. There's just something about owning it and being able to look at it. It's more like art. Everything's bigger. You're not looking on a small cassette, and
absolutely.
And I was a cassette guy, after a while. But so Night Ranger. This is their first release on MCA. Now, Dawn Patrol was released on Boardwalk, but they went out of business. MCA picked up the contract, and they eventually start pressing Dawn Patrol on MCA. But Midnight Madness is the first one that MCA's handles right out of the gate. So with Dawn Patrol, when it's originally released, you got that Boardwalk label. And
yeah.
When I throw these up, Andrew, I'll post actual photos up there for everybody to see. But so you may not exactly be able to see them, but so you had that Boardwalk label, and then eventually the board, and there's different variations of the. I can pick up a Boardwalk and tell you first pressing, second pressing, is it an RCA clubs, Columbia Records, stuff like that. But label wise, it's either got Boardwalk or it's got MCA. Okay. Now, all of Midnight Madness in the U.S., all of them are going to have that rainbow label.
All right.
I just call it the rainbow label. You can call it whatever you want. And so they use that rainbow label when they start printing Dawn Patrol, all through the Midnight Madness, and then when they originally released Seven Wishes. But in late 85, 86, they changed the label to this Camel label.
Ah, I think that's cooler looking.
So you can pick up a Seven Wishes, and depending on the label, determine whether it's pressed right when it came out or if it was pressed in later years.
I think I have a Seven Wishes upstairs. My better half actually has a turntable, and I think she picked it up for me.
Yeah.
And I was rocking it one day, just like turned up as loud as I could get on his little speakers, just really enjoying it.
So Big Life, all of Big Life is the Camel label, because it's after late 85, early 86, and same with Man in Motion. So there's no rainbow labels for any of those records. But what's crazy is they did repress Dawn Patrol with the Camel logo label. So somewhere in late 85, early 86, they repressed Dawn Patrol on vinyl. Which is weird because vinyl at that time, vinyl's kind of heading out. So yeah, you can. That's what I'm saying is you might have a Dawn Patrol with that Camel logo label, and that Dawn Patrol wasn't printed until 1986. So
I was like, do you want me to check and see which one I have here?
Well, if it's close by.
I have a Camel on mine.
If it's close by, grab it.
It is. Hang on. I was pulling up some information on the album just in case we ever need it. Well, okay, so this is interesting. Let me turn it around here, Josh. You give me the 9-1. Oops, the 911. Give me the 311.
All right, so that would be your first pressing.
Hey, look at the little camel guy.
Well, that's the Camel logo, not the label.
But not.
Okay, so here's that Camel Management logo is on every record. This is what I'm talking about. Look at the
Camel. Big camel.
Okay, so again, we both have Seven Wishes in our hands, but they're totally different pressings. Yours was printed, on one of the first runs in '85. Mine, this one here I'm holding, is.
Well, you have Seven Wishes. I have Midnight Madness.
Oh, I thought you said you had Seven Wishes.
No, I'm sorry. No, I that's upstairs. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, Midnight Madness doesn't have any Camel logo, so now
that's what it would have had.
all the US versions are going to be a rainbow label. So, yeah, I thought you were holding up 7 Wishes there.
This is great podcasting right here.
Yes, awesome. Just confused you guys even more. So, with all your records, you're going to have promos out there.
Love that. I say, Josh, one of these days we'll do a little side episode where I'll just open up my small vinyl collection, and you can judge me and then tell me what I have.
So, again, all your American records are going to have that rainbow label. But here's where it gets interesting, and I'll first show you guys this. Some people like to collect them sealed, or at least with the shrink. You can see that this has a red, and I'll post a photo of it, red hype sticker.
Yeah.
Promoting You Can Still Rock in America, Rumors in the Air, and Touch of Madness. Weird, no Sister Christian, or
I was like, no,
When You Close Your Eyes. But if you look at this, U.S. white hype sticker. So it's a different color, and it does have Sister Christian, Rumors in the Air, and You Can Still Rock in America. So they basically swap out Touch of Madness with Sister Christian.
So what was the first one you held up? Where was that from?
They're both these are all U.S. presses. It's just they use different, and they're both Gloversville pressing plant. And I'll tell you how I can tell you that here in a second. All right, so again, you might have Midnight Madness in your hands. You might have the rainbow label. Actually, all U.S. versions will. But if you're wanting to be a big nerd, you can actually tell what plant this was pressed at. So this is where you get your record at. So they had MCA had 2 pressing plants, Gloversville, and I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this correct. Penickneyville. All right. Sure. I think they're both on the East Coast. I could be wrong. So 2 plants are pressing these. And they are almost the same, except there's a few different variations. So the easiest way to tell which one you have is look on your label, and across the top, what does it say? Is it the band name or the album first?
The album first.
So yours looks like this. Midnight Madness.
Yes.
With Night Ranger after it. Well, or no, yours says what at the top?
Midnight Madness.
Okay, look at this one.
Yeah. So that says Night Ranger at the top.
So, again, you got the same album printed in the U.S., but then you have one that says Midnight Madness in bigger letters, Night Ranger underneath it. But then you got another one that says Night Ranger and Midnight Madness in small print, reversed. So you have the Midnight Madness on top, correct?
Right.
That is Penickneyville pressing.
Okay.
All right. And Gloversville had the other template. Now look in your dead wax. Another way to tell.
Yeah.
And the dead wax is just the music, or is just the part of the record towards the label that has no music on it. Look in that dead wax there, and you should see it looks like a line with 2 diamonds on the end.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Look in the middle, there's a P there. You see the P in the middle of the line?
Yeah.
So it's a P.
That's tough. I might have bad lighting or something like that.
Well, anyways, that little symbol is how you can tell that it's Penickneyville.
Got me a flashlight out.
You should see a line. It's like 2 diamonds, or no, 2 diamonds on the end of a bar with a P in the middle.
Yeah.
That's a good shot. You have the flashlight looking at. But
so my eyes are bad. My lighting is
that right there, that symbol shows you. That symbol is what shows you what printing press it was printed at, which is Penignaville. And if you look, there's look and see if you see something that looks like a flower in the dead wax.
On which side does it matter?
Nope, should be on both sides. You might see mastered by Alan Zent.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right, and then you should see maybe a flower, and some numbers and some symbols next.
Yeah.
So that is also who mastered it and everything else. So in there, they will have little designs that they put, whoever masters it, and whoever this was does a flower. If you look at, is it Keith Olson? No, the producer for Man in Motion. His was Pogo Logo was his mastering, and he had the word Pogo Logo in the dead wax.
So let me ask you this. So now, does the new Culture Factory have anything like that down there? Are they going to master? Because like I said, I didn't open mine. So is it going to master?
No, they don't have anything.
Or do they do their own special?
Well, they are mastering it probably for the reissue, but they're not putting anything in the dead wax.
So let's do a real quick, just because this question just popped into my head, and I don't know if you know the answer, and I don't mean to throw us off topic, but are these taken from the original plates? Do we know that?
You talking about the new record?
Yeah, like how do they make these? Do they have? Because I know there was a massive fire and a bunch of things were lost.
They would have all these stored digitally. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, I probably can't answer this exactly. But just because those master tapes aren't there could be copies of them. They're all on digital file. To where you can just transfer that over and make. I mean, think about it. It's a tape that burned. Still, before it burned, it was still tape, and would have to be transferred to a plate. So you can still do it with digital. So
right.
And then what they do is, those plates may be good for 1,000 pressings. Now, in this case, that doesn't matter for the new release, but. For back then when you're printing 1 million copies, might, and I don't know if it's 1,000 pressings.
Yeah, there's a finite number.
But yeah, and so that's where you get your test records from, is them basically using the plate for the first time, and then you got someone who is pressing them, sitting there with the headphones and listening to that first press of it.
They have to make
sure there's no glitches or anything in there. So what's happening is, these guys are getting the artwork in the 80s and stuff, and somehow one plant gets one template for the logo and the other plant gets the other. And so that's how you can, that's why you got the differences, and then you can tell what plant it is by looking at.
Do you think that's by design?
No. I mean, it's nothing. No one noticed it, probably but me. 30 years later.
I just wonder if they did that, like, hey, would you guys do it this way so we know where it came from? I don't know why. Maybe control.
You could have the same labels, and I could still tell what plant it's from because of the dead wax. I was just able to figure out all the ones with Midnight Madness on top came from one plant, and all the ones with Night Ranger on top came from the other. So that's how it's easier just to look at the label. Once I decided that all of them like this are from one plant. Now, if you have the Night Ranger Midnight Madness combination, which is the Gloversville, which you don't have, right. If you look in the dead wax, you will see. I gotta find it again.
By the way, every time you're talking like this, all I hear is "I'm a special kind of nerd."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And what does the Culture Factory label have on top?
It has, it is most similar to the Gloversville pressing, not yours. It has Night Ranger Midnight Madness on top. So
I mean, that makes more sense in that order.
Well, you'll see this on a lot of albums that they're like this.
No, they're wrong.
But if you have Night Ranger on top and Midnight Madness below, and you go to the dead wax, you're going to see, instead of like a bar with 2 diamonds, you're going to see a bar with 2 squares on the end, and then a G in the middle for Gloversville.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then if you go in there, you'll see whoever mastered that has their little logo there, and then this is mastered by Alan Zent as well. And then you get even crazier. It's the same thing, with you got Gloversville, then we got your Peninkneyville or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But then there are Peninkneyville with, remember how yours says mastered by Alan Zent? There's some that doesn't have the mastered by Alan Zent and the dead wax. Could there be a way I could tell if it was printed later or earlier? Maybe, but my nerdism hasn't gone down that far.
Nerd.
It's just I happened to see when I was separating these one day, well, all the ones with this one label are Peninkneyville and all these ones with the other are Gloversville, but then I picked up one and I realized, well, they all say mastered by Alan Zent, but I got one here and it just no Alan Zent. The label's a little bit lighter, but I don't know if all of them would be like that or not.
Do me a favor here, Josh, real quick. For those that are watching, hold up one of your custom labels that you make.
Oh, you talking about this, right?
Yeah. So you make these, right?
Correct.
So let me break it down. So it says Midnight Madness. Back it up. There you go. So you do the custom logo, the Night Ranger logo for all your labeling. It says Midnight Madness USA, MCA Records, top of label. So it's Midnight Madness top of label. And then you actually put the pressing plant with no Alan Zent.
Yeah, so
you actually break it down. You can just zip through that without even pulling the album out. You can look at the label. I mean, I think for the handful of people that are really like, you're probably drifting towards your area of collecting. That's a pretty specific and a pretty nice little. You design those yourself, right? You print those.
Yeah,
up yourself.
there's a printer you can buy for maybe $80, and then the stickers, and then it was a fairly easy program on your PC. Yeah, I mean it wasn't a pain in the ass. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I just put the album title, the country, because you're going to get a lot of countries. If it's a promo, I will put it beside the country, so USA-promo. The record label, because the record label changes when you go overseas, or if you're collecting Dawn Patrol, you got Boardwalk and you got MCA. And really, I could, if I wanted to, like the Midnight Madness on top of label, Peninkneyville with no Alan Zents. The Midnight Madness top of label and Peninkneyville both say the same thing. I know
it's redundant,
but I put it there just, number one, it's easy to tell Midnight Madness top of label, but then by looking at it, maybe it'll jog in my head that, hey, Midnight Madness top of label was Peninkneyville. But yeah, and I'll show some more.
So anybody that's watching, if you got any questions about how Josh labels, you can
and
ask him, and he'll be up. I'm sure help you out, because this is something you're passionate about, collecting. And
well, what it was is when I started going through my collection and noticing this, it's I had half of the stuff, right? And it's like, well, what's great is it doesn't. Night Ranger stuff's not overly expensive, so if once I put it together and I had different copies, and I was like, well, I wonder, I'll just search, eBay and see what, look at some pictures of labels on some of theirs, and I might find one that was different. I'm like, okay, there's another variation, and it might cost me $8 with shipping, It might be a $4 record and $4 shipping, and so it wasn't expensive to do, and then I started doing this podcast, and it's like, well, I better kind of have everything together and know what I'm talking about. So that's what I did. And again, you may have a Midnight Madness, and you're thinking, wait a second, maybe mine doesn't fit any of those, because if you look at this one, see the Night Ranger and the Midnight Madness in this really thick, bold print?
Raise it up a little bit. There you go.
Okay, so
They look like they're the same size, roughly.
But this has you can tell it's a thicker, bolder print than the
Right.
others. Well, if you look under the MCA right there, do you see that CRC?
Yes.
So everything almost looks the same with it, except this is a Columbia Records Club version. It'll have, now not all of them, records out there that are Columbia Records or Columbia Record Club will have CRC on the label, but the Midnight Madness do. And then if you go to...
So let me ask you real quick while you're doing that. So now when Columbia we probably addressed this, but do they press their own or they just label them differently?
Originally, they pressed all their own. So if you look, there were sometimes shortcuts taken. Maybe, if you bought Big Life and it was a fold out and it had all the lyrics, if you got it through RCA, BMG, or Columbia Records, it may not be a fold out. It may just be one little thing.
Right. Gotcha.
So, or they may not have the nice looking dust jacket inside. It just may be the record with... So
like
if
a plastic one or whatever.
if you look, you can, like the Big Life's an easy one on cassette. If you bought it from the store, the whole front of the cassette is the picture of the band and everything. But if you got it through BMG or RCA, the album cover is just like half of it, and then the bottom half is black with all the print, like manufactured by BMG. So sometimes you can tell that they are record clubs. CDs, if you're going to a used CD store and you turn it over, now Columbia Records CDs, I think still had the barcode, but like BMG, if you look at a CD and flip it over and there's no barcode, but instead of the barcode it says R63094, manufactured by BMG, you know that was a music club because there was no barcode on it.
Right.
So, and the only way you can tell it without the label, the back is almost completely the same, but if you look in that corner, see that CRC?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can tell on the back. So, again, you might have a Midnight Madness that's not either pressing plant, but is actually a Columbia Records. And normally these wouldn't be available in record clubs for at least 6 months after, because they want everybody purchasing them at the stores. And then what they do is they sign a contract with them. Yeah, you can run 20,000 copies for this amount of money.
I did a lot of it. I probably still owe BMG some money.
And then back then you had two clubs. You had Columbia House and you had RCA. Again, they're just going to look the same. The label almost looks the same. I mean, the font and everything's different. But if you look right there, do you see where it says manufactured for RCA Club?
It'll go up a little bit.
It'll be right there.
Yeah.
So on that label, it's a rainbow label, but it says manufactured by RCA Music. And on this, right there, you will see this order number and everything for RCA. You can see the order number there in like a little bit lighter print.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference, is that little paragraph right there telling you that it's an RCA club. So there you would basically have, that would be all of your U.S. pressings. You would have, again, they're all going to be the rainbow label, which makes it easy. You're either going to have Midnight Madness, Night Ranger on top, one of them on top, and then you can tell by which of the which one it is by the symbol in the dead wax.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you could also have an RCA club or a Columbia Records club. Midnight Madness is the easiest to collect because you just got the one U.S. label. Yeah. Now, it gets a little bit complicated when you go overseas or you go to other countries. So, you see that?
Epic. Yeah.
That is Canada. So in the UK and Canada, they were on Epic Records. So again, Midnight Madness different label. And then sometimes with these countries too, if you pull out your dust jacket. Is yours like a glossy?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them you'll get won't be as nice. The sometimes the records clubs, they won't do the glossy. It'll just be a flat paper.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit different. And the back is about the same. It's going to have a different barcode number maybe, but then just in the bottom corner, it's just going to have different information, made in Canada and all that stuff. So the biggest thing is just is really the label. It's the Epic Records label. But that is Canada.
So was Epic part of MCA? Like, why would it not just be MCA? At least in Canada, I get. But like, if you go overseas, I get. But
well, it might be more to deal with maybe the UK and Canada or the same. I don't know. It's just you're dealing with different distributors and different. Maybe MCA doesn't have a pressing plant there, so overseas they got to, sign.
We got to get somebody on from the record label industry and just to
they
break
are,
this stuff down for us.
You do sign separate contracts, or at least back then, you did sign separate contracts. You had your U.S. release, and then you had your overseas release, and you might go. I think Dawn Patrol might have been released in Japan originally on CBS Records, CBS Sony.
Okay.
So eventually they get away from that, and they do start releasing them on their own through MCA a lot more in other countries. But here is England. Again, the front looks the same, and I didn't pull the record out, but if you look right here in the middle, there's no barcode on it. So like the top corner is a little bit different and stuff like that. But if you look right here, it'll say Made in England. And this has kind of a glossy cover. So you can just tell the difference by looking at it and touching it. And then but look at this. I guess I was wrong. I know Epic was England on Dawn Patrol, but look at this here. So it's got a rainbow label, MCA, but it's all different font too, and it does say manufactured in England.
But also it doesn't say Night Ranger on it.
Well, it does at the bottom. See?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So yeah, you can see that it's still the MCA label, but it's all different font. But like I said, it'll now. Could it be that there is a England label out there that's different? So maybe like they had two pressing plants in England. Possible. Is
there anything in the dead wax that says pressed at Avon upon Shire, England?
There's really nothing in the dead wax except
Who's our British guy, Mark Greenway? Tell us where the pressing plants are.
Now this one's kind of neat because it came with stuff that I did not know. I'd had a German copy before, and it didn't have all this stuff with it. Now in Germany, the big record company over there is Bellophone.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. BELLAPHON. But their labels are, you can see the purple and everything. What is unique though about this one, and the back's different, it says made in Germany, and I kind of got it in the front here. It came with a German press release.
Oh wow.
And a promo postcard.
Is it in German?
The press release is, yes.
Okay. You can see it there.
You can read some of it, stuff that doesn't translate. Funk rock band Rubicon. They mentioned Foreigner and Van Halen, the Doobie Brothers, Santana, Kiss, and Sammy Hagar. So this is June 15th of 84 is the press release. So this would be probably something like a promo maybe, or they just included some promotional items with it, because you can see here I have a couple more German copies that are the same, but they didn't come with any of that promotional material. And then there is, I don't know if this is, see, then there's another one that says manufactured in Germany on the back. The back looks about the same, manufactured in Germany, but then you have the rainbow label, so you kind of have two German versions.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know if you can actually see it, but the dust jacket, I don't know if you can see the yellowing of it, but
yeah, it's kind of like paper.
It is paper, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real thin, like newspaper almost. So there is two German versions. Then you go south of the border to Mexico, and you get, they did Seven Wishes and Midnight Madness with like this rocker,
City rocker,
little thing on the side there. When you get to South American records or Mexico, but especially South America, I'm pretty sure it was required by law when you bought your record, the first thing you had to do was take it into your driveway and jump on it and run it over, because everyone looks like they were dragged by a bike or something. They're just bad. Mexico, they're it's a little iffy, but what's weird is usually there's no dust jacket. It just comes in this plastic. And if you look, the quality of the, you can't see it in here, but the picture's not as nice. It's pixelated or something.
Yeah.
But what's cool is they got all the songs in Spanish and then in English on one side. So, it's neat just seeing that different stuff. And you can get these pretty cheap, $10, $15.
Well, did the German one do that?
The German,
they're
all in English on the back.
All in English over there. Yeah.
Then you get Venezuela. Again, you can't really tell, but the print isn't that great. And again, it comes with this almost like saran wrap. It's still got the rainbow label, but you can just see differences. MCA logo big on top, and whenever you're overseas, this WEA Records does a lot of the, where's it at? Underneath Jack. So see that WEA?
Yeah.
You'll see that on a lot of South American and African and Australian records. But where are we looking at?
Is that Warner Brothers? Warner Entertainment?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. And then right there somewhere it says Venezuela. So
yeah.
And they'll say it on the record too, on the actual label. But yeah, that just shows you how big the band was. I mean, they're printing these in Venezuela. They're printing them in, I think Guatemala. I don't think I have it, but I know they printed it in Guatemala. I just haven't picked one up yet. I mean, I think I could have got it for like $60, but I'm like, I'll get them if they're a decent price. This is probably the newest one. This is Argentina. Again, just the thin
cellophane or whatever it is.
Now, what's unique about this is it's in Spanish on the label, and this is nowhere in English on the back. You can see, I don't know if you can see the song titles.
Hermana Christian.
Yeah. So, again, it's just crazy thinking in 1983 some kid in Argentina's buying this, and this was in their record collection for a few decades till some Yahoo in Ohio.
I'd love to get somebody from south of the border and get their opinions and reflections on Night Ranger in the 80s and the Sunset Strip music scene back in the day. I mean, we obviously know Kiss was huge back then, but Kiss was huge. Even if you didn't understand them, Kiss was such a show that you understood that.
I have to
but
look.
Like, how did Rat and Dokken and translate to?
I don't.
I would love to just talk to somebody, just like tell me what it was like to be 15 in 1985 in Venezuela.
Now here, I thought it was one of the South American countries, but it's actually these German bellophone.
Yeah.
All right. Look at the track listing.
Oh. Well, that's not at all. Is that how it is? In reality?
Well, the sleeve, the dust jacket's still the American version, but yeah. So if you looking at it,
it should open with Rockin' America.
Side 1 is Sister Christian's Rumors in the Air, Touch of Madness, Passion Play. Side 2, When You Close Your Eyes, Chipping Away, Let Him Run. You Can Still Rockin' America. Why Does Love Have to Change? Let me look at the actual record.
You got to put that on and find out.
Well, I should be able to tell by just looking at the wax here.
What's the label on the inside?
Yeah,
side
it's the same as what was on the back. Sister Christian leads off. Rumors in the Air, Touch of Madness, and Passion Play. Yeah, and it looks like it matches up on the vinyl. So,
I demand after this is over, you put that in and give me a full report.
Well,
or pause the video now.
All right, here I will. I
got enough that.
Watch this. So here is side 1. I'm going to put on side 1.
All right, those of you who aren't watching this, Josh was pointing out, this is Venezuela, right?
No, this is Germany.
Germany.
So here is side 1.
How? How are they doing that?
Well, first of all, they're...
How's it pressed?
Well, they can, they got so much wax on each side. You can, if you're messing with the plates, you can put in any order they want.
But doesn't it come as a?
Well, you know what? I think we've learned, if you've ever picked up a history book, that Germany,
does what they want.
They do. They have went to war against the world.
Why would you do it?
Well, I can speculate. Sister Christian maybe being the big song. Why not put it number 1? Maybe you still have a thing against America and you don't want that leading off the record. We'll put You Still Rock America, track 8 on the other side.
Doesn't change history.
I don't know. I can't tell you that. It's just I noticed it one day, and I guess
that is crazy.
And I thought it was the South America, because it seemed like it'd be something that happened in South America. So
have you noticed it with any of the other albums?
No. I was looking at South American ones because I thought it was there, and they're all in order. I'm like, well, what? I know it was Midnight Madness, so I had to go back and.
But is Dawn Patrol or?
As far as I know, none of them are in different
Kiss?
order.
I mean, do they rearrange Kiss albums too?
They may. I don't think they do, but they could. The only thing I got in different order, I got an acetate record of Dawn Patrol that has 2 songs left off of it, and then they're in different order. Basically, what they would do is they could press a vinyl real quick, and listen to it in the studio, and they're only meant to be used a few times. They're not the greatest quality, so. That's the only one I got in different order. But
that is really something.
It's just neat stuff, like I said, to get it. And, if it's not costing you a lot, it's just neat to think, back in the 80s, some kid, is purchasing in Germany or Guatemala or whatever, their Midnight Madness, and just how global they were. And then you see the differences in the record. It's just fun to look at. And then you get to the stuff like Korea. So you got Korea. Korea is a little weird. Some of their pressings were legal, which means they were licensed. But then some of them were bootleg. They didn't license them. They'll look official, but they weren't. They weren't paying the band or the label anything. But if you look, it looks about the same, but it will have. I'm not going to show it because you can't really see it, but it says approved by the KECPP, which is the Korean, I can't remember, but it's like Office of Quality and Ethics and stuff like that. But, it's kind of looks the same as the rest of them. It's got some differences. And then, the label is about the same. But it'll say Korea. Oh, it's the Ministry of Culture and Information Registration. So it was approved by. But it's just, again, just some cool stuff to see on the records. And a lot of times these were actually bought by U.S. servicemen in the 80s, and they would buy them and either on base or and then when they were done, send them home, and that's how a lot of these came over.
Overseas, like in a PX, you wouldn't necessarily get the American shipment of albums. It would be a version from local.
Well, I can't say that. At the PX, if it's anything like at the time I was in the military, no, it would be all American. But you go right off base, and you can buy. You
find a store that might be selling albums.
Selling it, and maybe $5 cheaper. So
gotcha.
That is how that happens.
Okay.
Now we get into the fun stuff. So this is how you just learn as you go. This is probably one of the best releases of vinyl you can get. If you want Midnight Madness and you want to spend a little bit of money and just get the best one, get the Japanese. Okay, it's whereas everybody in South America beats the shit out of their vinyl the first day they get it, they put it like in a safe and never touch it. So you have the obi strip across the top, which is a little bit unique.
Yeah.
But what comes with it is this special issue booklet.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll try to flip through the pages, but...
It's like a little tour book?
Yeah, just something like that. I mean, it's a better tour book than what they had on the Midnight Madness tour, which was just a fold-out poster.
I have that somewhere.
But yeah, you can see Jeff wearing that classic, kind of like, it's big now, that blue and gold.
Go up. There you go.
Right there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a cool book that comes with it.
And do they normally do that with every group for the most part that you know of?
The Japanese will have the obi strip and maybe something else included, like an order form for like the Night Ranger necklace. This booklet is the only one. There may be something else, but
yeah.
This, so if you're going to order it from Japan, you need to make sure it comes with the booklet. And then comes with the regular dust jacket. And then the label is the CBS Sony
right.
Japan.
Okay.
And then the back is mostly the same. Of course, it's going to say Made in Japan or something on the back, and you'll see the differences. But so that's what I had as my Japanese copy, and I would tell people just make sure you have the booklet. And then one day I'm at a record show or something, and I see this exact same album, but it's got this green hype sticker on it.
Oh, nice.
And it's very specific. It tells you what songs they're playing or what songs are on there, kind of like, You Can Still Rock in America and all that. It tells you it's Night Ranger's second album, and it's also got tour dates for in December of 83.
How cool is that?
So now, like, to get the complete one, you got to make sure you have the booklet and try to get one that has the hype sticker on there. And then what was cool is whenever you get a record, too, is open up the jacket when you got everything out and see if there's anything in there. Sometimes you'll find a ticket stub. I mean, it's rare, but sometimes you'll find something in there. I found actual photos someone took.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of Jack Blades, one of Brad Gillis, and one of Jeff Watson. So it's photos they took, and then they threw it in their record, and then whatever happened to the person, or they decided to sell it, they didn't know that was in there.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Now you get into... so you see how this obi strip across the top, CBS Records is the label. Well, eventually MCA takes over distribution of the Japanese Midnight Madness. So the obi strip changes to like on the side. And you then have the MCA Japanese logo.
Huh.
So now you can have two Japanese Midnight Madness. It doesn't come with that nice book, but it does come with this Japanese lyric sheet.
Oh man.
And it doesn't come with a dust jacket. So this here is just a insert sheet, so like an American version, the record would fit in there. It'd be like two-sided. This is just one piece of...
It looks the same, just not a sleeve.
It's just not a sleeve. And then on the back, it will, it advertises different records and stuff. But yeah, so you can see how different countries... Even Japan on that release has two different ones. Eventually, MCA takes it over. When does that happen? I don't know. I haven't spent that much time. I mean, and you can't really go, like, with that being a rainbow label, they used it in the States until late 85, early 86. But overseas, they may have used it longer. I don't know. You'll find that they'll change labels in the States, but then overseas, they stay the same, or and then we have the newest reissue from Culture Factory. So what's cool with them is they do the kind of like the Obi strip from Japan. They mimic it, and they advertise what they got. The cover, the inner paper sleeve, and limited to 1,000 copies. And then they reproduce the original label. Now, the font and everything is different. This font you won't find on any of the other cover. They've went in and refined it and centered stuff and made it look good. Now, one thing that's weird is if you look at that rainbow label all the way at the bottom, the copyright date is 1980 on all of them. Well, Midnight Madness came out in 83. Seven Wishes, 85. It's just... I don't know if when they bought these, they were all blank.
Oh, I see.
And they just put 1980 on there, but all of them, and they mimicked that. I mean, it still says 1980. Now, if you wanted to correct it and make it right, it would say 1983. But they printed the label how it was. So there you go. And then the insert is paper, where originally it was glossy, but this is even a little bit better because that glossy paper wasn't sturdy, and this is a real sturdy sleeve. And then you have the back is pretty much the same, and then you have the Obi strip with all the information on it. So they did a really good job good job reproducing it.
Yeah, that Culture Factory, I mean, it's so cool that they do this, especially with this resurgence of love for vinyl and getting these special... I mean, is it a higher gram? I'm looking.
I would say this is...
Is it like this? Well, I don't know what...
I would say it's at least 160, 180.
What did the old standard used to be?
They were probably 120, if that. I'd have to look. And you go and you get some from overseas. I could hold them and you can see them bend. They're that thin.
Yeah.
I would have to look and see what an actual standard.
So
maybe even 90. I don't know.
Being a total noob here on vinyl collecting, does it make that much a difference in the heavier? Is it just sturdier, or does it make the sound better?
It's heavier. Just it makes it sound better because it's just thicker. It can hold more groove. It doesn't
just
wear
better quality. The groove is actually
correct. And it's got more weight to it. On your turntable, it's not as flimsy and moving around.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different ways. I mean, really, the first thing you got to do is you have to have a decent turntable. Yeah. That's the first thing. It don't matter if it's, 250 gram. You got a shitty turntable, it's not going to sound good. And then you need good speakers. And I hear stuff on vinyl that I don't hear on CDs.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, the mastering or just in my head, but it's just also, I like just the artwork and just looking at it, and I still do the CDs and everything, but
Well, we've talked before, and we're old enough to remember vinyl. I mean, that's what I had, and we've talked in depth. Off camera and probably some on is Kiss Alive and Kiss Alive 2. I can't tell you how many nights I spent as a 10-year-old kid with that album cranking on not a great stereo system, but it was mine, in my bedroom, and just staring at that, and I could just picture the concert. The big stage of Kiss Alive 2, and you're hearing it. I mean, because I was in my world, I was never going to go to a Kiss concert. God, I didn't know if that was ever going to happen. And I think I've talked about. I have a daughter that's 15, and she just doesn't. She'll never know the joy of holding that album and having to listen to the entire album and get all the tracks. I mean, our thing was we plug in our ColecoVision game system, and we would play Pitfall or Space Invaders, whatever we were playing. My brother and I, and we would stack the albums up, and we just he got to pick one, I picked one, and you put probably 4 of them on there, and you listen to all of side 1s, flip them over, all of side 2s, and it was like it would go from AC/DC, that was my brother's band, to Kiss, then Judas Priest would be my brother's band, and then Kiss again, or as I got a little older, it might be Def Leppard, Pyromania, something like that, or Journey Frontiers. But my kids, and I don't mean to be you old man Parker, I'm saying that they'll never understand that joy.
You know what?
Having the pops and the cracks and the little nuances.
And you got to remember, there was a time too. I mean, I know you do, but I'm talking to those that don't. Is you now can go click on your phone and see Kiss live on your phone, a video of them, or you want to read the history of Kiss, you can go on your phone and read that. To where you may have in 1976 see Kiss on TV 2 times. And that's all the visual. Everything's in your head. When I became a Kiss fan in like 1990, 1991, I mean, I knew of Kiss, but then it kind of went to a new level.
Yeah.
And I only knew Kiss from the 80s at that point. I didn't know Gene Simmons sang because every video was Paul Stanley. Right. I thought Paul Stanley was the singer. And then when I got into them, the only thing I could get to look and see what they were was Exposed.
Yeah.
And I had no history. Who's this guy? Did Ace change his makeup? No, that's Vinnie Vincent. I didn't know anything of the history of the band. I'd have to, hopefully they talk about something in an article and like, oh, I never knew that. But now you could do on your phone, and you kind of take the mystery out of a lot of stuff. Because just when I was a kid, 7 years old, laying on my aunt's bed with headphones on, blasting Midnight Madness, I'm looking at that back cover. And I don't know what I'm thinking at 7 years old. Maybe the girl in the fishnets, she does something for me. I don't know. But you're looking at that and like, what are they doing right now? You think they're rocking and partying, and you're looking at everything. And I remember staring at those photos on that dust jacket at 7 years old. Just, that looks so cool. Jeff Watson's picture was the greatest, and he was my favorite because we had the same initials. He looked the coolest on that, just little things. In the back of my head, I'm pretty sure it's Jack's photo. If you look behind him, there's a dude laying down working on the keyboards.
Yeah.
It's like, just...
But that's all you had. I mean, that was...
But it's like, just little things in my head 38 years later or whatever is, Jack's picture. Look behind there. There's actually 2 people in Jack's pic. I want to double check here. Make sure I'm not... Yeah, right here. So if you look at Jack's pic, right there underneath the keyboard is someone laying down, But I remember I probably envied that guy. Like, holy shit, that guy gets just, maybe he's not even working. Maybe he's just like, dude, this fucking is so cool. This
is my angle.
I'm just going to sit down here. But, like Brad and Jeff, I mean, come on, a 7-year-old, those were just the coolest pics, and just that iconic, middle photo there. And At 7 years old, I was a little, what's the scrub thing? I wasn't quite sure what was going on there, but
I didn't get it either, and I was older than you.
But you know what? Probably the coolest looking dude now.
We talk about it. I'm not a big vinyl. I'm not a collector of anything except for bills. But I long for that, and I wish I'm glad there's a generation now that's digging into vinyl and put on a good set of headphones. There's pictures of me. My mom and dad took pictures of me as a kid. I'd be falling asleep every night, and I'd have headphones on. Just whatever I could get my hands on. I mean, music became everything to me, and that vinyl. I'd go get my mom and dad's vinyl. Elvis Presley 45s were the first things I ever had.
Yeah,
Hound Dog. I played Hound Dog constantly.
And what's just great is, what I like is picking. I love old country and western stuff, and I remember I found you'll find a record that has someone's name on it, and I think this lady put her address and address and the date. It was like 1967 November, late November.
Yeah,
and it was Akron or Youngstown, one of those industrial cities, and it was an apartment number. And so all I could think was, well, she's living in an apartment, and so I'm just like playing this scene in my head that maybe she's living in an apartment. Life's not going exactly how she wanted. She takes what little money she had, went and bought this record because there was a song, and she valued this record so much that she put the date on there and her name and her address. And now something that was so valuable to her, and now I'm finding it in a thrift store.
Yeah.
150 miles away. And it's like, you think about that journey, and that's a good thing about buying these records is sometimes, you'll see someone's name on it. And if it's just a common album, I don't care. I like it because it's like at one time, Pete Smith loved this album so much that he put his name on it, and it meant the world to him. And
and remember too, back then, no one had disposable income like they have now. So when you paid your $7.98 for an album, you had to put some thought into that $7.98. And if you were going to lend it out to somebody, you're damn sure you're getting it back. Okay. So scribble Andy Parker. That better come back to me. I have a Monkees album that I took a marker to and wrote Andy Parker across the front of it, just in case someone walked off with my Monkees. I was like, that's mine.
So, yeah, that's, like I said, those are the stories I like with buying those is, give me a second here. I'm going to mute that. But it's just those stories. And I'll get some that have drawings in there of the cover that they've made, or what's a crazy one is I bought Kiss Animalize in pretty decent condition, like almost mint, and I bought it $10-15, and it was just mint condition. I didn't have one mint, so I got it. Now, growing up, my two aunts had a friend named Dale, and he was always around. They were in their early 20s or so I knew him as a kid. And when my aunts took me to go see Damn Yankees in 1990, I was 13, just turned 13. My aunts took me, and they took a couple of their friends, and he was one of them. So he was around when I was younger, and he had probably 3,000 to 5,000 albums.
Wow.
And he passed away, and his mom sold them. She didn't know what, so a collector came in and went through them all, and she sold them. Well, down the road, I'm looking at that Animalize album, and in real small print on the label, it was so small I didn't really see it at first. I saw a name written, and it was his.
Wow. And
so it was just one of those stories of, I know that name, I know the person, and I know how it came, So, yeah, you just always wonder if these records, is it someone just doesn't care anymore? did they pass away? Especially the old country records, they're probably.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we got off a little bit. That's the thing about
Yeah.
collecting vinyl. Everything's got a story, and you can just pick up your Midnight Madness record, and you know what to look for. You could tell, hey, I got an RCA version or a Columbia Records or one of the printing presses, and if you are a big Night Ranger nerd, you may, you're at the store next time, you might see, hey, wait a second, I have a RCA Club. This is a regular standard pressing, $3. Yeah, you know what? And just be careful. You will you'll go down the rabbit hole, and you're like, you'll be searching for them. But and you could do the same with the singles. The singles are more fun. I like the 45s.
Yeah.
Because whereas all those Midnight Madnesses have the same, cover.
Yeah.
Your Sister Christian 45 will be a different cover in Italy, will be a different cover in Japan. They just had more leeway, so you'll just have different artwork. And so that's what's neat, is seeing the different artwork and the different band photos that they use. And, down the road we'll eventually get there. But so, yeah, if you're listening to this, thank you. You are dedicated nerd, but you're the nerds we like, man. You're the,
yeah.
That's and collecting vinyl is fun, and get the new blue vinyl. It's out there.
Absolutely. We got to keep, you want to keep buying these things because you want Culture Factory to keep putting stuff out, and we want to do all of Night Ranger's catalog. And
yep.
So we need to make sure that these sell out. If there's any still left on the shelf, let's go get them, and let's keep Culture Factory going.
Let's get like a gold 7 Wishes, and maybe a what do we got for?
Hey, look, I'm all for picture discs, man. Bring picture discs back. Those are fun.
Big Life.
Put a lamp in the middle of that 7 Wishes.
I don't know what we'd use for Big Life, but
use like a clear vinyl, but put the lamp in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my vote.
It'd be cool to get something, maybe like a purple and gold, or like a black and gold.
Absolutely.
Maybe like gold sprinkled in the black for the Man in Motion. Mojo, you could use different colors. You could do another blue for Neverland, and so yeah. I mean, hit me up, Culture Factory.
We got ideas.
We got ideas, but yeah. So if you got your Night Ranger Midnight Madness, either the new colored one or your copy from the '80s, post it up there and tell us what pressing you got. Show off your nerdum, and if you got any vinyl questions, you can always shoot me a message, and I'll answer them when I can. So, just have fun and go collect.
Well, let's do our best to flood the page with Midnight Madness pictures and album covers, and from your opening. If you buy one, if you've got one of the Culture Factory's albums, open it up. Let's see it. Tell us your story of Midnight Madness. Yeah.
So, take us out, Andrew.
So anyway, as we round this thing, round the third, head home, click subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's you're watching us via YouTube, subscribe, maybe leave a little comment for us. We love reading the comments. If you're listening to us via iHeartRadio or Spotify or Pandora or Amazon or Apple Podcast, Stitcher, AudioMac, click subscribe and help us build this thing up and get it bigger than it already is, and leave some comments for us. And the best place to find us is the Facebook page, Fans in Motion, Night Ranger Tribute page. Join us. Join our little corner of the internet where we talk about this hot band out of Northern California. And you can also always find us on the World Wide Web, www.fansinmotion.com. I think I covered everything, Josh, unless you want to give them your personal address or email.
Hey, if you got something you want to say, you can find me on Facebook and send me a message. I'll answer you. Anything?
So with that being said, guys, thank you all so much, and please join us on our page where all the action happens. There's so much fun going on the page. Turn off the news. turn on some Night Ranger.
And this one belongs to the Reds.